Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
I'm very excited to give this lesson this evening because I've given something similar before because of my passion for understanding how our bodies are our healing tools. I call it our body, our healing tool, because we're so used to thinking of our bodies as what we heal, right? Whenever we're asking for healing, it's something in here. Usually it's the body or some part of it or some connection to it. And in fact, the healing is actually on an invisible plane, and the healing of the body is actually the expression of that inner invisible process in a way. So our body is actually the tool of healing, but I'm going to explain a little bit more about that. When we're focused on healing our bodies, a lot of times we think that if we could just fix that, if this would just stop hurting, if this would just work right, my life would be good again. Things will be okay. Then I can get going. Then I can go do some stuff. So we also let it inhibit us from living our best life with this idea that something is broken or not right or not good, or something we're doing needs to change in some kind of a way before we can really experience our life. In A Course in Miracles, it says our bodies are communication tools and a mode of teaching love. That's what it says. First time I read that, I thought, well, that's lazy. Seriously, I thought our bodies are communication tools. Well, duh, like here I am talking to you right now using my body. And I could use my hands, and maybe we could create a language. Actually, there is a language I can use my hands for. There's other ways that we can communicate, right? We can call, we can sing, we can write, we can draw, we can draw pictures, we can do all kinds of ways that we use our body for that. And I thought that really didn't seem like a very much of a spiritual insight. And then I started thinking about how many ways we use our bodies to communicate or express. So of course, sound, voice, song, speech, vision, we read facial expressions, written words, hand signals, posture, hearing, we hear voices, music, all sounds, we use that for communication and for expression and understanding. Touch, we receive information. When we notice things are hot or cold, that gives us information, soft or hard, smooth or rough, living or dead. We communicate with touch, with hug, scratch, hit, grab, steal, give, create, shelter, protect, soothe, heal, kiss, bite, all kinds of things that we can do with our bodies that communicate, right? Posture, crouch, stand straight, bow, folded arms, open arms. Our face has 43 muscles to create different expressions with. But I'm not talking about this type of communication tonight. Our bodies also register pleasure or pain with the environment around us. In other words, this is our tool for experiencing our lives. This is the interface with our lives, because this is basically our avatar, the body that we have to move around in the game board of life, so to speak, and to experience. Otherwise, we'd be disembodied spirit, because we know we're spirit already, we're multidimensional. But there is a very important reason we have a body for this human life that we have. It registers pleasure and pain with the environment around us as protection from environmental dangers, letting us protect ourselves. We've evolved with those skills. We have enjoyment of life in nature, but we also are aware of nature. We draw strength from it. We draw refreshment from it. And we also find ourselves best when we are in harmony with it. We can experience sweetness as well as bitterness, hard and soft, difficult, easy, using our physical stamina, or becoming aware of how vulnerable we feel in weakness. Dexterity and skill in sports and crafts and mechanical, intellectual, musical, creating things, building, designing, all kinds of ways we use our bodies to express and to interact with our world and with our lives. This is what we do as human beings. And don't forget attractiveness to our species. Body obsession and focus sometimes becomes too extreme and gets confused with living a good life. That just the good-looking people have good lives, and whatever we think that looks like, and whatever we think we're not, and whatever we would fix about ourselves. And I'm not even talking about our amazing brains or our sexual organs. We have them, thank God, but I'm not talking about those tonight either. Deepak Chopra tells us this. There is a flow of atoms and cells. There is a flow within our bodies. Our bodies are actually a river of atoms changing and moving and being released and being brought back in to be recombined with other chemicals and reactions within our bodies. Cells perform their function, die, and are reabsorbed, broken down into their elements, and recreated into new cells. We are a river of this life, our body is a vehicle for this life. And our life purpose is really not about our bodies. How good they are, how long they last, how far we go with them, how they look. None of those things. Our body is here to root us to time and place so that our souls can be fulfilled through this life. Someone was once asked, why was this baby born crippled? And the answer, because he didn't need his legs for this lifetime. If we think more carefully and more objectively about what our bodies really are for, we recognize that they have become the field of our experiment with this human life. That this is the place through which we experience. Jesus' disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Jesus said, neither this man nor his parents sinned. This happened so that the work of God may be displayed in his life. That is true for all of us. No matter how we are, no matter what we are, no matter what we do or fail to do, no matter how we proceed through this lifetime, we are here as an opportunity for the light of God to shine through us in expression, in all of the forms, in all of the ways that we express, that we live our lives. Jesus said, "Do not judge according to appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. See beyond appearances. See beneath the picture." Can we heal these bodies? Yes, we can. But if this is the only evidence of healing, that's a pretty short-sighted view of life. Whether my body heals or not, whether it gets repaired, whether it looks right or not, a little crooked, one finger or toe longer than another, and my nose isn't quite right, whatever. None of those things matter. We have to become so capable of altering our bodies that we have the ability to determine and change defects in utero and plastic surgery, and they can go to extremes. We know of people who become addicted to changing their bodies, always in search of that final state of perfection. But this is what I mean about our bodies being communication tools. Our body holds the key to truly experiencing this life that we're living, but it requires our attention. Hamid Ali, an author and spiritual teacher, said, "Sincerely explore for yourself. Are you here or not? Are you in your body or oblivious? Or only aware of maybe parts of it?" When I say, "Are you in your body?" I mean, are you completely filling your body? I want to know whether you're in your feet or that you just have feet. Do you live in them? Or are they just things you use when you walk? Are you in your belly? Or do you just vaguely know that you have a belly? Or that it's just for food anyway? Are you really in your hands? Or do you move them from a distance, disconnected from them? Are you present in yourselves, inhabiting and filling your body? If you aren't in your body, what significance is there in your experience in this moment? Are you preparing so that you can be here in the future? Are you setting up conditions by saying to yourself, when such and such happens, oh, I'll have time, then I can be present to what's going on? If you're not here, what are you saving yourself for? The truth is, we have all learned to dissociate from our bodies as a protective mechanism to survive different forms and effects of trauma in our lives. But when we escape our bodies, we store the pain in them, and it inevitably resurfaces when triggered by current events or memories or painful experiences. This is what I mean by our bodies, our communication tools, by the fact that our bodies are a healing tool, because our bodies hold our woundedness, patterns of fear and hurt, anger, shame, or guilt. These are the lessons our souls have incarnated to learn. This is what we have come into this experience to heal. Alice Miller wrote The Drama of the Gifted Child. She says, the truth about our childhood is stored up in our body, And although we can repress it, we can never alter it. Our intellect can be deceived, our feeling manipulated, conceptions and can be confused, and our body tricked with medication. But sometimes, and one day, our body will present its bill to us. For it is as incorruptible as a child who, still whole in spirit, will accept no compromises or excuses, and it will not stop tormenting us until we stop evading the truth. We have to listen to ourselves deeply. We have to allow ourselves to breathe and to know. What we practiced was just the beginning in our meditation of just becoming aware of sensations. Hot, cold, contraction, prickly, tingly, vibrating, pulsing, pressure. We start to notice how our body's responding, where it's stuck, where it flows, where we feel lifted and invigorated, and where we feel heavy or contracted. In becoming aware, we can communicate by allowing ourselves to listen deeply to what it is our body is trying to tell us. What does it wish to release to us? What does it need our attention to begin to bloom and blossom and unfold and begin to come to the surface of our lives and allow something we have long forgotten to be brought into the light of our current day understanding, of our deeper awareness, of our support network that we have developed in our lives, that we can deal with understanding this thing that was put away so long ago that we merely forgot it was ever there, or true, or real. And in allowing this to come up and to breathe through it, it will transform with our awareness the light of the love that we are. That's why we're here. This is the work we do. Healing and finding our true self requires watching, allowing, breathing through the pain, fear, guilt, shame, hurt, seeing them for what they are and what they become under our watchful gaze. Tara Brach shares a story of her experience in her book, Radical Acceptance, that we're using for this series, where she talks about coming home to our body. She was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome and irritable bowel syndrome. She had very torn and racked by abdominal pain that would almost cripple her, take her out of her life and sideline her. At some point, they told her there was really no treatment and that she would just have to deal with it. And so one time, while she was on a 2-week retreat, she came and decided that she would use this retreat to deal with, to experience, to practice acceptance of whatever her body went through while she was on retreat. She decided, I'm here to work with unpleasant sensations. She says, on a clear and brisk afternoon at the beginning of the 2nd week of retreat, I took off into the woods and walked until I found a patch of sun. Wrapping myself in the warm blanket I had brought from my room, I sat down and propped myself against a tree. The ground covered with leaves offered a firm, gentle cushion. It felt good to sit there in the natural world. I felt at home in the simplicity of earth, trees, wind, sky. I was resolved to attend to my own nature, to the changing stream of sensations living through my body. After taking some moments to release whatever obvious tension that I could, I did a quick scan through my body, much like the one we just went through in meditation tonight. She says, I noticed the aches and soreness, the sinking feeling of tiredness, and in an instant, I was out of my body and into my mind. Whoa, I still feel really sick, I said. Once again, I watched my mind contracting with the idea that something really was wrong. Fear. It felt like thick, hard braids of rope tightening around my throat and chest. Taking a deep breath, I let go of thoughts about sickness and just felt the gripping fear. I decided that no matter what experience arose, I was going to meet it with an attitude of this too. I was going to accept everything. As I noticed feelings and thoughts appear and disappear, it became increasingly clear that they were just coming and going on their own. Sensations were appearing out of nowhere and vanishing back into the void. There was no sense of a self owning them. There was no me feeling the vibrating, the pulsing, the tingling. No me being oppressed by unpleasant sensations. No me generating thoughts or trying to meditate. Life was just happening. A magical display of appearances. As every passing experience was accepted with the openness of this too, any sense of boundary or solidity in my body and mind began to dissolve away. Like the weather, sensations, emotions, and thoughts were just moving through the open, empty sky of my awareness. And then, when I opened my eyes, I was stunned by the beauty of the New England fall. The trees rising tall out of the earth, yellows and reds set against a bright blue sky. The colors felt like a vibrant, sensational part of the life playing through my body. The sound of the wind appeared and vanished. Leaves fluttered toward the ground. A bird took flight from a nearby branch. The whole world was moving like the life within me. Nothing was fixed, solid, confined. I knew without a doubt that I was a part of the world itself. And when I next felt a cramping in my stomach, I could recognize it as simply another part of the natural world. As I continued paying attention, I could feel the arising and passing aches and pressures inside me as no different from the firmness of earth or the falling leaves. There was just pain. And it was the earth's pain. By meeting the changing dance of sensations with radical acceptance, we discover our intrinsic belonging to the world. We are no thing, not limited to any passing experience, and everything belonging to the whole. In this experience that she recounts, it is a way for us to understand that the business of caring for our bodies the business of taking care of our lives and making our decisions and moving about, really doesn't have meaning. What really has meaning is how is it that we allow our souls to fulfill their purpose through the use of this physical life, of this amazing awareness of our connection to all that is, and to live awake and aware. Jesus said, I have come that they may have life and that they may have it abundantly. He didn't enumerate all the different things we would have to live that abundant life. We're the ones with the list. Surprise? It's the life you already have. You have an endless supply of it. From true healing, we unearth our gifts and our dreams, and in that, we find our life. Namaste.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.